Yeah, roughly that 6 to 12 hour span tonight into
Mhm.
early tomorrow, as you mentioned. That's the chance of freezing rain and those impacts we might see on the roadways. So when we look across the state of Michigan, I'm just going to look at this broadly here. If you have travel plans tonight into the first half of tomorrow, especially into northern Michigan, into the upper peninsula, you really want to keep a close eye on the forecast as freezing rain, icing is expected across the northern half of the state into the upper peninsula. But let's focus in here at home. For those south and west of Grand Rapids, Holland, down towards Grand Haven, South Haven, Kalamazoo, for example, most of this will fall in the way of rain. We're not expecting any high impacts. But once you start nosing your way north and eastward of Grand Rapids, such as Rockford, Cedar Springs, Greenville, up towards parts of Newaygo County, for example, that's where we could easily see that glaze of ice, upwards maybe of 1/10 of an inch of ice. Now, I think we won't see any significant icing here in West Michigan outside of maybe a slight possibility if you're closer to Big Rapids, so our far northern communities. But that light glaze, anything that's 1/10 of an inch or less, that still can provide some slick spots on our roadways and especially on sidewalks and parking lots. Some ice can also accumulate on the trees and power lines, but once we start heading towards 2/10 of an inch of ice, 1/4 inch, for example, that's when we could start seeing more dangerous weather across the area. But I think we'll hold off on the real dangerous ice because as we warm into tomorrow morning, temperatures will climb well above freezing. Notice close to freezing here in the early hours tonight into early tomorrow. But once we head towards daybreak tomorrow into the daylight hours of Wednesday, we quickly warm up, meaning that the ice will come to an end before things become too impactful. So that's the good news there. We'll talk more though about your forecast, Sam will, as we head farther into the week coming up in a few minutes.